Hey, welcome everyone to this week's edition of The Focus TV. This is season 6, episode 17. We're joined by Octavia Wyatt, Raymond Lyons, Wilson Tarpe Jr. And before we get into everything, just a quick reminder: it's that time again. Happens quite a few times a year. But the latest issue, Finance Magazine, drops later this week. Give Finance back a follow on Twitter for more details. All right, last night WNBA Draft. Octavia and we talked a little bit about this last week. Ray, now that you're with us this week, I would love to say it was a very interesting first two picks, but feel like it was anticlimactic. But what we're gonna do is go ahead and go through the draft, take a quick look at what happened in the first round. Then we'll just talk about the draft halls as a whole. Again, it was a pretty good night. Some controversy aside, because social media is social media. If you guys didn't hear, just like put WNBA Draft in the search bar on Twitter, and I'm sure you guys will see whatever you need to see. But from a reporting standpoint, fun times. That said, let's get to it. Look, Aaliyah Boston was destined to be the first pick in the year that she came out, way back in her freshman year. I don't think anybody's shocked by that in the least bit. Actually, I'd be shocked if you were shocked. Put it like that. We'd have to have some serious discussions. We had the Minnesota Lynx take Diamond Miller, Maryland's own. Not a big shock there. I personally seen Cheryl Reeves and company at many Maryland games over the years, and I'm talking about those games where nobody's coming to watch because it's the games you're supposed to win on the schedule. There was a Wolves contingent. Obviously, we expect to see a Mystics contingent as it's in their backyard. That said, I'm not shocked by that at all. We had Maddie Seegers out of Villanova, a whole bucket, retired college career. Washington Mystics selected Stephanie Soares for a second, then they traded her to Dallas for a 2024 second and then a 2025 first. The 2025 first saw some people get upset. Just for a reminder for those of you that were upset yesterday, the 2025 first means just in case some of your favorite players take that COVID year, you got an extra pick in the 25 draft. Just in case some of you were like, up in arms, like, your favorites. Say a Caitlyn, Paige, Angel, if you will, to take an extra year. Washington has 2 picks in that draft. So some of y'all were like, that's not a 24 pick. What is Mike doing? Relax. Like, you have one of the few front offices where you just don't worry. Them and the Lynx, I put my trust in everything. Shout out to Lynn Dunn being back as well. The Dallas Wings had a lot of picks, all right? They took Lou Lopez, Senecal from UConn. Atlanta Dream took Haley Jones. Indiana Fever took Indiana guard Grace Berger. Atlanta Dream took Leticia Amieri. I am sorry if I mispronounced your name. I've been doing it your entire career. I am bound to get it right. You want to talk about the Atlanta Dream, though. They got Ryan Howard, they got Alicia Gray, and you followed it up with 2 more talented wings with good size in Leticia and Haley. Fun times ahead, right? You got Jordan Horston to Seattle, Zaya Cook to the Sparks, Abby Myers, Maryland. She spent her grad year at Maryland, spent her previous years at Princeton, and then Maya Hirsch going to Minnesota. So I think we'll start with you, and then just Ray, just your thoughts on the draft, and it doesn't have to be contained to just the people currently on the screen. I'll try to flip through everything that happened throughout the rounds and whatnot.
Like you said, the first 2 picks, it was like a no-brainer. Like after Kathy finished like her little opening spiel, I don't even know why she put them on the clock. She should have just already had the envelope. Like it's Leah Boston, guys. We know. So not surprising. Deep down in my heart, I was just hoping Diamond would slip to the Mystics. I knew it would never happen, but gotta be a hometowner with that. But yeah, probably the biggest surprise to me was just that Abby went so high. To be honest, like I've watched her all year, so I know what she's capable of. But to see her come from Princeton and then spend this grad year here in Maryland, you could see how much it helped her draft stock. I honestly was surprised that she went that high. But you could tell that they're looking for shooters, and that is one thing Abby knows how to do is shoot the ball. I think, like I said, most of them kind of made sense. I kind of feel like the Mystics, like you kind of already alluded to, like they're playing the long game. Pretty much they have a pretty solid roster as it is now, so they don't have too much. I mean, I was intrigued by the Elena Shanike pickup to see if she'll stick. Um, Definitely have some people that she would have to compete against. And yeah, I mean, nothing really surprised me. Probably the funniest thing to me is just like the Indiana Fever is just like a college team, like all over again, like from the last 2 years. Because like literally every person they named, I was like, did she play like 2 years ago? It's like they are legitimately a team full of rookies and sophomores. So they're going to be eager to get up and down the court. They're going to be eager to prove themselves. You know, um, and I mean, half of their team is from South Carolina, it seems like now, because Destiny's back with Aaliyah, and there's somebody else that got picked up by them as well. So it's just going to be a fun season. I personally think just from the look on her face, I think Brie Bill has a chip on her shoulder. I think she thinks that people went higher than her than that she thought should have. So I think she's going to be out to prove a lot. She's definitely going to have to work hard at it. But I mean, nothing really surprised me. Um, yeah, so all in all, it was a pretty good draft. I think just selfishly as like a fan watching that doesn't really pay attention to the logistics of things. If you're a fan of a team, you want them to pick somebody or something. So I think maybe again, I didn't get on Twitter to look at the hoop loss. I don't know what happened. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it was a great, situation. It was nice to see all the players there. I mean, I like hearing the stories too, about the kids who, parents are in Brazil, the Suarez girl. I think Dorca's family was from Finland and they were, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. Um, and to see Zaya Cook and, how emotional she got in her response, you can tell that it means a lot to them, to be where they are today. So it was all in all a great event. And it just makes me realize that we're that much closer to the season actually starting, like literally next month. So I'm super excited for the season start.
All right, Ray.
Um, yeah, man, it was a great draft as always. Like you guys said, the first two picks just par for the course, and it's been that way for quite a while. I was shocked to see Haley Jones fall to six, to be perfectly honest. But kudos to Atlanta. They scooped her up, and they might be problematic. Um, so Ryan has a rookie year under her belt, and that learning curve wasn't even that big, to be honest. So she's going to
No.
be she's going to be even more comfortable than you put her with Haley and Letitia from South Carolina. It is going to be issues, and they're like, just their whole progression over the last few years has been great to see, man. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be paying close attention to them, and yeah, Brie Bill, she definitely has a chip on her shoulder, and the worst thing they could have ever done is let her go to a competent coach. Like, I mean, you put her in Cheryl Reeve's lap, like, come on, man. But but hey, it's not my problem to deal with. I just get to watch. So more power to the rest of the teams that passed on her, because yeah, we already know what she does defensively, and I know she's going to work tirelessly to change that narrative about her offense. So yeah, that's going to be something I'm paying close attention to throughout the season. But yeah, man, it's just good to see the interaction around the just around the WNBA in general. I wish people would save the think pieces for at least the day after the draft, and just let the draft have its moment. But people they gotta do what they gotta do, man. But yeah, it was a good night, man. And just like Octavia said, man, can't wait for the season to start. See how these new pieces fit in. And yeah, like you said, Wilson, like, are we still questioning Mike Tebow decisions at this point? Like, I don't care if he drafted a junior high school player. It's gonna work. Like he's earned that. So yeah, that I wasn't even ever worried about any decision he made last night.
Yeah, and keep in mind, just and I'm not saying this is what's gonna happen or anything like this, but in a couple years, you're gonna be having to kind of like do what Minnesota's currently doing,
Hmm.
which is add an influx of youngsters to your roster because some of that current core is aging out. It's not a bad draft or to have an extra pick in. That's all I'm simply saying. I'm mama business. I'm gonna leave it like that. Some of the younger players here in Washington, they'll be the vets in their prime come that time.
Hmm.
So just keep that in mind. And one of the things, Coach T now GM Coach, I don't even it's Coach T forever for me, but because the title thing's gonna mess me up. He was talking about how important it is after the latest CBA about roster building, and I think Minnesota did a hell of a job in his
Hmm.
draft with that. And obviously, it's not this is not a grading the draft show or anything like that, but Diamond, Hirsch, Dorka, Bree Beal, just having say if they just got Diamond and Bree Beal, people would be like, yo, that's a fire draft. And instead you throw in a couple bigs with it, it's not bad. Shout out to Lynn Dunn, showing that sometimes having old school people around helps. She came back in, tried to get the fever pointed back in the right direction. And it's bad when you got to go get somebody. Hey, look, I know you done served some time here. Can you please come back and fix it? It is broken. Um, and her first draft, Aaliyah, not bad. Shooters. I mean, you get a big. Why not have some shooters? I heard it helps. That's an Aaliyah Boston and a Alyssa Smith front court. They still got Queen Egbo out there. Just throwing again. It's early. I know we got time. Just saying. If I told you a couple years ago that Alyssa Smith and Lee Boston was going to be the 4 or 5 of a WNBA team, you'd be like, "That's a hell of a two building blocks, right?" That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying any crazy. Like Ray said, you look at Atlanta. Bro, Ryan Howard was like, I've been waiting to get here. I am freed from the shackles of college basketball. So I'm going to give pros this work. And then you get an Alicia Gray. And then off the bench, you be like, hey, look, I know it's going to take y'all some time, but here's a 6'4" defender. Kaylee's what, 6'1". Go make trouble. Like they can have all types of fun, versatile lineups just to mess around with stuff. But again, it was fun. I'm looking forward to see how things play out as we get closer and closer to training camp. Like I said, you mentioned, which is going to be like tomorrow. I'm sure emails chimes going to be like training camp today, but I'm sure it'll be a couple weeks that we'll get rolling. Looking forward to a fun season. Like Ray said, y'all got to let the think pieces go, man. Everything is not horrible. Some things take time. Please, y'all, go outside, touch some grass, and don't type until you tell me what grass feels like. That's going to take you a while before you hit send. Ray, the Wizards, season has come to a close. Floor is yours, sir. I don't even know how to.
Yeah, so it was a long 82, man. But we made it to the end. Obviously the Wizards did not qualify for the play-in, so they're done for the year. They just had their exit interviews, and I mean the most maturity came out of a second year player. And I really think that speaks to the issues they've been having all season, man. And not to pile on, but we got 82 games of evidence. Like there was just no consistency. We I think we mentioned the defense 80 out of the 82 games. So they definitely need to find some rhythm on that end. But the main thing that that was the point that was most echoed between the players is that they just don't have an identity as a team. And Kispert, he echoed the sentiment that when things got rough, they just didn't have anything to fall back on. Whether they were battling injuries or what have you, they just didn't have an opportunity to say, hey, this is what we do as a team, no matter who's on the floor. And that'll cost you, man, because you can't just be out there doing helter skelter things on the NBA level. It just doesn't work that way, and that's evident by their record. So yeah, man, it's they got a ways to go. With their payroll looking how it looks, they should still be playing basketball. I'm gonna just keep it frank, man. And Bill, it's cool that you're frustrated, buddy, but you got to produce, man. It's it's about that time. It's been about that time. But we can't change the past. It is what it is. Tommy seems to be optimistic, um, but it's nothing left to do at this point but to produce. So yeah, hopefully that leadership aspect rolls upward, to the main guys. I mean, it's nice to have Corey Kispert, being that voice, but it don't hit the same with a second year dude that's just still kind of finding his way. That needs to come from Bill, plain and simple. And until that happens, we're going to get the same results we've been getting. Um, the burden of being the number one guy is that a lot of this stuff will fall on you. So you're either going to step up to the plate or you're not. And if you don't, then you got to be willing to accept that criticism. Yeah, and not just say I'm tired of losing. Yeah, I hope you are, but you gotta change course at some point. So yeah, we'll see what they looking like in September when training camp rolls back around. And it sounds far now, but we're gonna blink and it's gonna be here. So yeah, they need to look themselves in the mirror the entire offseason and figure out what kind of team they want to be.
Look, you talk about how quick it can get here. We are a WNBA's full season away from training camp, from NBA training camp, right? That's just, in my mind, that's how it's blocked out. But now, like you said, they got some interesting decisions to make this offseason for where this thing's going. Are you committing to these three? And you mentioned the one at the top of the three. Decisions. All decisions that are made in life, all decisions have consequences, whether they be positive and or negative. And yeah, it's tough hearing that from the second year player. But again, some of us aren't too surprised about what things have been like watching this train for quite a while, right? I don't think too many people are shocked, but they got to figure it out. And that's another part that comes with being the guy at the top of the food chain. It's all on you. Welcome to that part of it. Because the guy that was previously here, he had to answer those questions all the time. Had to face the music quite a bit. Right now is your time, it's your era. It's up to you for how this thing ends, right? And right now, unfortunately, not being available all the time to play is something that, I've seen a couple things where a couple people bet at his neck recently in the media, as early as today after those comments yesterday. And some of the criticisms are fair, some of them a little bit, over the line or whatnot. But again, for other guys that are at the top of that chain on their respective teams, and everyone's obviously in different tiers, what have you, par for the course. It's literally just par for the course. It's tough. But the first thing is you got to be available. You got to be available. It sucks, but it's not even that it sucks. It's just what's expected of you. You have to be available to lead your team. And like Ray, you said something crazy. Think about the teams that didn't make it in the East and didn't think about the payrolls. That's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow. Which is why those decisions get that much more interesting, because it couldn't be me in charge. But another story, another day. We're going to take our first break. And when we get back, Cardell's not here tonight, but I'm going to take care of this for him. The Portsmouth Invitational is this week. So you guys know how that goes. Seniors in men's basketball got a big opportunity to come and, it's a hell of a job interview right here. Money can be made this week if you come out and handle your business. And we'll see who does. But we'll have the Portsmouth preview and a quick update from GW basketball, men's basketball in just a bit. You're watching the Focus TV, and we shall return. Welcome back to the Focus TV. As promised, before we get into the Portsmouth Invitational preview, a quick update on GW men's basketball. GW men's basketball senior guard James Bishop the fourth announced his intention to return for his final season in the Buff and Blue on Monday. Quote, obviously, we're thrilled to have James back, said head coach Chris Caputo. He really embodies everything we want a GW student athlete to be. Having somebody like James Bishop in the building every day is instrumental in developing the culture we want here. His work ethic, his demeanor, his unselfishness are what we want to reward here, end quote. Bishop returns to Foggy Bottom after completing one of the greatest individual seasons in GW history in 2022. In the 2022-2023 season, the Baltimore, Maryland native became the first member of the Buff and Blue to lead the A-10 in scoring since 2000. He finished 12th in the nation at 21.6 points per. He also earned first team all-conference honors, the first for a GW player since 2006. Bishop said, I'm excited to return to GW and earn my degree at a place that means a lot to me. I have a lot of trust in our coaching staff and the plan they have for me to finish my college career. I also love the culture that we're building. We have a lot of good momentum from this year that we can build off of to have a better season next year. So, again, I'm sure all GW fans are very happy that Bishop is returning. As we saw this year in this year's NCAA tournament, having seasoned guards is never a negative thing. We'll see what GW can add in terms of recruiting and, the all-powerful portal to see what their fortunes, how they can impact their fortunes going forward. But as far as the Portsmouth Invitational goes, it's the 69th annual Portsmouth Invitational featuring 64 of the top seniors in college basketball. It's set to tip off Wednesday, 7 p.m. at Churchland High School in front of over 200 NBA and FIBA scouts. Again, a heck of a job interview for these 64 players. Again, not just NBA scouts, but FIBA scouts. Big job interview. So what we'll do is just go ahead and preview some of these rosters. I think Cardell's going to be down here this week. So you just follow the Focus TV on Twitter and also at Finest Mag. You guys will see when he does all around, have some recaps, some updates from Portsmouth as usual. That said, let's get into some of these teams. Which one's better? There we go. Actually, my eyes are bad, so we'll do it this way because my eyes are horrible. All right, so first off, we'll start with the Portsmouth Sports Club. We got Rasir Bolton, Tiger Campbell, Gibson, Tevian Jones, Pete Nance, Jake Stevens, Justice Sewing, and Race Thompson for Portsmouth Sports Club. From Mike Duman Auto Sales, we got Ed Crosswell from Providence, Jawan Johnson from DePaul, Darius McGee from Liberty, Asuni from Iowa State, Craig Porter from Wichita State, Hunter Tyson from Clemson, DeAndre Williams from Memphis, and we got Jamarius Burton from Pittsburgh. K&D Rounds Landscaping, Mike Bothwell out of Furman, Kendrick Davis from Memphis, Hunter Maladinato of Wyoming, Kevin Obenor at Texas Tech. We got Philip Rabraka of Iowa, Serge Abari Rice out of Texas, Connor Vanover, Oral Roberts, Eric Williams Jr. out of San Diego. For Portsmouth Partnership, Leon Ayers III of Bowling Green, Damian Bow, TCU, Joe Bryant Jr., Norfolk State, Tumani Kamara of Dayton, Desmond Cambridge Jr. of Arizona State, Tyshawn Crawford out of Augusta, Nate Lazuski out of Notre Dame, Javante Perkins of St. Louis. We got Roger Browns, Tanner Groves out of Oklahoma, Demoy Hodge, Missouri, Justin Mutz out of Virginia Tech, Kevin Samuel from South Alabama, Cam Shelton of Loyola Marymount, JT Shamati, Toledo, David Singleton III out of UCLA, Jordan Walker from UAB, for Team Janai King, Yuri Collins of St. Louis, Trey Jemison of UAB, Chris Bankston, Norfolk State, Tyjon Jones, Asheville, Gabe Kalsher, Iowa State, Cedric Milner III of Toledo, Zion Pullen, UC Riverside, Morris Yedizi, New Mexico. Norfolk Sports Club, Timmy Allen of Texas, Tyree Appleby, Wake Forest, Manny Bates of Butler, Sincere Carey out of Kent State, Patrick Gardner of Marist, Dane Goodwin of Notre Dame, Tavian Kinsey out of Marshall, Derek Walker, Nebraska, and I think our last team, Sales Systems Limited, Manuel Eckert out of Western Kentucky, Jarkel Joyner of NC State, Caleb McConnell out of Rutgers, Nathan Mensah, San Diego State. You guys should be pretty familiar with San Diego State. Veteran squad just in the title game this year. Josh Roberts out of Manhattan, Grant Sherfield of Oklahoma, Eric Stevenson out of West Virginia, and KJ Williams from LSU. Can't wait to see who stands out this year, who makes a name for themselves. Year after year, a good portion of these guys make enough of an impact that we see them end up on NBA rosters at some point during the season, if not outright or via the G League, or going overseas, handling your business and finding your way back on this side of the waters. So congrats to those 64 players. We'll see what shakes out this week. I'm looking forward to hearing the updates. We're going to take our second break. When we get back, DC United's slow start continues. Then we're going to talk about these NBA playoffs. The NBA postseason, because the play-in thing is still, I refuse to accept what it is yet personally. So you're watching the Focus TV. We will return very shortly. Welcome back to the Focus TV. As promised, let you guys know what DC United was up to this week. I can tell you right now, could have been under better circumstances, but it is what it is. We are here now. And but it was tough. Told you guys last week, Columbus Crew would come into this game having scored 15 goals in 7 games. They didn't waste any time. This one came with a bit of controversy, though. You see what's on the screen right now. This is how the first goal of the game got scored. A little tug right here. This is a dive. I'm not going to be controversial here. This is a textbook dive. There was not enough contact to that grown man to hesitate and then fall like it was glitching out on a video game. That said, Matan did what he had to do. He got the ref to take the bait. The ref issues a penalty kick. Zilla Ryan steps up and does what he does best. Calm, cool, and collected. And puts Columbus up by 1. While the Crew were on the lead foot in the first half, DC United still had a few solid opportunities at scoring. For them, you guys know what it has come down to. Capitalizing on opportunities and making the most of the chances that they get. And this is one of those weird games where two of their designated players, the guys you've ID'd as big ticket guys, had opportunities, just couldn't hit. Here's Taxi getting a hell of a shot. I know it's a volley, but he has enough skill to complete this. He has scored one of these since he's been wearing the black and in a black and red kit. Tough shot here. Shooty does a great job. The goalie of coming up with the stop. Birnbaum with the nice header back to Taxi. But these are the type of opportunities that they just weren't able to capitalize with. This is a great look for one of your better players. But for DC United in the 47th minute, Ramirez would lose his marker for his second and knocking the second goal of the night for the visiting Crew. Right here, Columbus Crew player beats his man 1v1, and he got free for just a second, and there you go. That's all it takes. The same continued for the home side in the second half. They would generate opportunities, could not finish them. They didn't play great by any means. However, you guys know in sports, you don't have to play good all the times to come out victorious. Sometimes just capitalizing your opportunities goes a long way. In this case, they failed to do so. We saw the shot from Taxi earlier. Christian Benteke, I think he won 11 duels in the air in his game. So he was doing what he was paid to do. He just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And they suffer from this. The Black and Red are now 1-4-2 on the season. Up next, they'll face Montreal on the road. Midfielder Lewis O'Brien, another one of those big ticket items they got recently. Here's a great example of a free kick by DC United. Really good ball by Mateus Click. And Benteke loses his man, chested down, great look, just outside the post. Stuff that he's done a lot. This is why he's made money overseas for the majority of his career. Whole lot of skill on display here. Just couldn't get it on the right side of the post. Again, Lewis O'Brien made his debut. He played 90 minutes in his debut, which isn't bad. Pedro Santos returned to play for the first time since March 11th, and he played 62 minutes for DC United. Here's another opportunity. Lewis O'Brien with the chip off the post. Just tough misses in a sport where points only count for one. There's no 10-0 runs typically here. So, you're down a goal, sometimes two, put you out of it. But again, opportunities were created. They have to capitalize. Big opportunity this week. Get a chance to get the 2-4-2. You don't want to keep going the opposite direction because, we know how hard it is to climb out of the hole. As of right now, I believe they're 13th in the standings. Got a lot of work to do between now and then. I guess we'll get into this NBA playoff discussion that I really don't want to discuss because I hate the play-in. But we got 2 play-in games tonight, and it's so confusing, so I'm going to try to read through this so it makes some type of sense. Tonight we have the 8-seeded Hawks on the road against the 7-seeded Heat. We also have the 7-seeded Lakers hosting the 8th-seeded Timberwolves. On Wednesday night, the 10th-seeded Bulls are in Toronto to face the 9th-seeded Raptors, while the 9th-seeded Pelicans host the 10th-seeded Thunder. Tuesday and Wednesday's games will lead to a Friday matchup of the 9-10 winner, that's either the Bulls or the Raptors, in the East, taking on the loser of the Hawks Heat game. In the West, it's going to be the winner of the Pelicans Thunder taking on the loser of the Lakers Timberwolves. And then after we talk about that, we'll get into the larger picture of things with, the teams that made the regular playoffs, in my mind, where they're not a part of this nonsense here. But we'll talk about the teams that are a part of this nonsense first. Again, right now, Atlanta, as we're recording, Atlanta leads Miami 63-48 as the end of the first half begins to wind down. But on the other side later tonight, we got the Lakers and the Timberwolves. We know Rudy Gobert is not around because of, a little dust up. Because Rudy Gobert is involved in such types of things. With slow-mo, how do you get into it with Kyle Anderson? Apparently, I learned this week that Kyle Anderson speaks very bluntly, and some people don't like it. That's my favorite part. One of my favorite parts of this week. Ray, we'll start with you, then Octavia. As far as the play-in matchups go, where are you on it? Like, what match were you most intrigued by? Or, if you have a prediction, feel free to share.
To be perfectly honest, I'm not intrigued with any of this. It shouldn't be happening. But since it is, I guess it's good to see OKC there. It looked like they were about to be in the Wemby sweepstakes. But they pieced together a decent season, all things considered. And that's with their top draft pick being out for the year. So they'll get him back next year with these young guys with a lot of valuable in-game experience. So they might have a not quite a Sacramento Kings situation, but they on that trajectory. So and then they're facing a wounded Pelicans team, so they could. Who knows, man? I think they're going to win that game, and as long as you're playing, you got a chance. So should the unthinkable happen and they sneak into the traditional playoffs, then that's a hell of a year for them. So yeah, if it's anything I'm paying attention to is that the Lakers and the Timberwolves, that game got a whole lot less interesting, given recent developments, with Gobert not being with the team and Vanderbilt breaking his hand. So yeah, that's going to be tough for them to overcome. So the Lakers will probably get that one. On the East side, the Hawks are taking it to Miami right now. Hopefully Miami can turn around in the second half, but they can't stop a nosebleed and they can't make shots. So 2 + 2 is 4, man. They might be up out of here. Well, they'll get another shot if they lose. But and the Raptors and Bulls, those are two teams I did not expect to be in this position. But the way their season unfolded, they're where they are. So I got the Raptors winning that one. The Bulls, they're just semi in disarray, man. Um, they've been battling injuries all year as well. So so yeah, man. As soon as we get through this this nonsense, we can get to the real playoffs. But yeah, man, it should be interesting, man. It's a lot of interesting matchups here. So yeah, man. I'm just looking forward to it getting started.
All right, Octavia, your take on the wonderful and always exciting play-in that doesn't feel like a participation trophy at all.
Mhm. I definitely agree with Ray. I'm not really excited about any of them, to be honest. But since they're here, I'm going to watch them, of course. Um, Definitely, because I honestly, with the Thunder, I completely forgot about Chet Holmgren, Graham, whatever the last name is. Yeah. So, I mean, number one, the Thunder had a great season with that, and I definitely do think that the Thunder can pull out a win against the Pelicans. The Pelicans have gone nowhere ever since Zion is always hurt, like forever, and I think they even pushed it out even more now. And Shake SGA is he's a walking bucket. So I mean, I think they say he has the most 30-point games this year. Like everybody else of all of these players that have been playing out of their minds, the Joel Embiids, the Jason Tatums, the Jokic's, everybody. SGA got the most 30-point games of the season. So him and then Giddy's playing well, and I just think they play hard for each other. So, and I just think, like you said, the Pelicans are kind of just not whole without Zion. Now don't get me wrong, Brandon Ingram can go off at any point as well. But I'm just pulling. I just think that the Thunder will kind of get it done. Um, yeah, Lakers and Timberwolves. I mean, it's a no starter at this point since Gobert swung on Kyle Anderson, and then Jaden McDaniels punched the wall and fractured his hand for whatever reason. I don't know why you were so upset. So unless Carl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards just goes berserk, um, I don't really see them having a chance. Um, Outside of that, I mean, the Lakers should easily win the game, but there's been a lot of games this year that the Lakers should have easily won and they didn't, even with this new team they put together after the trade deadline. So it's definitely can still go up and down. It's definitely, leaning more so for Lakers. It's a home game for them. They didn't have to travel. Um, you know, but I was just getting nervous because Anthony Davis and LeBron James can never really stay healthy. So it would behoove them to win this game so that way they have a lot more rest for the rest of this week before they start. Because if they win, they would play against the Grizzlies, who I know a lot of people are giving a lot of flack to, but I still think that they have something in the tank. Um, Raptors and Bulls, like you say, yeah, I think it'll be more so the Raptors. Um, I just believe the Bulls have been too up and down all year, and you can never really get a good grasp of the type of team that they are. But one thing about the Raptors, Fred VanVleet is going to play hard and he's going to score. So I just think the Raptors could pull that out. And I mean, the Heat and the Hawks, I definitely thought the Heat would be able to win. Um, I'll be honest, I kind of pull for the Celtics now. So I like that the Heat is losing because I think the Heat and the Celtics play each other too tough. It'll be a little bit easier for the Celtics to get the Hawks, to be completely honest. Um, but I mean, I hope the Heat don't go out like that when Udonis has them on his last season as a player. I mean, at this point, but yeah, I mean, I'm ready to get past this as well and like the regular playoffs start Saturday with all the real, meetups, and I know we'll get into like the actual playoff ones. But yeah, I'm ready for it to happen because I love this time of year because literally basketball is on every night. This is literally the best part. The first round, because there is literally 2 games every single night all week, and I'm just like, yes, I have something to watch at night. So super excited.
Yeah, like y'all said, Ray, that was a great point about the Thunder. How about that? Not tanking and it takes you somewhere. You get rewarded for it almost. And SGA is on. That kid's been on one all year, and he's just kindly progressing to that territory that he's trying to make sure he can be one of those guys that end up at the top of the food chain and gets that contract. And he's completing every step you're supposed to complete along the way. If he can take these guys and get into the, not just the playing, but get into the actual dance and maybe make some noise, like you said, Chet comes back next year. You have both the Jalen Williamses on your roster, both of them, and then however, with your 50-11 picks for the next 17 years, fall, you can use those picks to take something out the draft to go get other things that are a little bit more ready, for SGA's timeline. But again, credit to them for being here. I don't care about the Lakers Timberwolves matchup anymore after Jaden McDaniels got hurt. I thoroughly enjoyed watching him and Ant lock up on the wing. But that's not there, so hey, whatever. Lakers, you do your job. Congratulations, I guess, for getting into the play-in, storming into the play-in, and that's wonderful. Yeah, man, I'm not.
Somebody on that team.
No comment on that. Raptors and Bulls, 2 teams, like Ray said, it kind of disappointed us all. Looking at the East, going into the year, neither of you should be here, but alas, you are. We'll see what your teams look like next year, because one of you will be finding out sooner than later if you don't make it past tomorrow night. How quickly things will change. It moves that quick, right? With the Heat and the Hawks, like, to me, it's irrelevant. In the East, you're like fighting for first place to get punched on by the Bucks or the Celtics. I don't think it's something that's worth it, but hey, it is what it is. Have fun. A rested Bucks team and a rested Celtics team sounds fun. Gives Jaylen Brown some extra time to rest his hand that he cut while watering his plants. Okay, yeah, things I'm not commenting any further. Just fun times, NBA postseason. So as far as the actual bigger picture, we'll be getting to the dance after whoever makes it. That's fine. We wish the best to all 4 teams. Miami, you got some work to do. It's currently at the half. We in the East, we got the 1-8 matchup. That's whoever's lucky enough to end up in the 8th seed, you get the Bucks. If you win the 7th seed, congratulations, you get Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and the Boston Celtics. Congratulations. After that, we got a fun matchup. We got something that would have been exciting at the beginning of the year if things didn't change. In another universe, the 3-6 matchup of the Sixers and Nets would have been phenomenal television. Currently, it's Mikal Bridges and company taking on Joel Embiid, James Harden, and that group. And then the 4-5 matchup, we got the Cavs and Knicks. So just quickly want to get you guys' thoughts on those 2 matchups. Ray, we'll start with you, then Octavia. Muted.
Appreciate it. Cavs and Knicks is gonna be interesting. I think I'm gonna go Cavs. Donovan Mitchell is. I think he's the best player in the series, and he's got a pretty good supporting cast. So I think with what they'll be able to do, and then with him, he'll just kind of be able to push him over the top. Not to say that it's going to be easy, because the Knicks, they've been playing fairly well recently. Jalen Brunson, he just gives them a shorthand at the point, and when you got a guy that can control the game like he can, and he can score when needed, Darius Garland's going to have his hands full. And then also pairing that with Julius Randle, and then got quickly coming off the bench. I think they're gelling at the right time. But I think the Cavs, they got a guy who can put the ball in the hole at at an enormous rate, and then their athleticism and versatility defensively. I think that's just going to give them the edge. Sixers and Nets. I mean, the Sixers should win that, fairly handily, but you never know, man. Not saying the Nets will win, but they might blade them up a little bit more than the Sixers expect. You know, playoffs is different. I know that, but Cam Thomas, professional scorer, Mikal Bridges definitely coming into his own. They do have pieces. They just don't have the star power and the firepower to match up with what Philly has. Claxton and Embiid, that's going to be interesting, but I think Embiid is he's just too much, man. Claxton's going to fight for sure, but Embiid's arguably the best center in the game, so that's just a tall task, and I like to ask for him. So yeah, Philly should advance, but they could find themselves in more of a fight than they think. The Nets, what they got on their side is just a bunch of guys playing with house money. So there's been many a nights in the casino where somebody push all their chips to the middle of the table and win big. So yeah, that's going to be fun to watch. The Nets, I just feel like they're going to be playing freely with basically no pressure. So yeah, that should be fun, man. So yeah, hopefully we'll get some good games. Everybody comes out healthy, and we just get some good basketball.
All right, Octavia, your thoughts on the Sixers Nets and then Cavs Knicks matchups?
Yeah, I agree completely about the Knicks and the Cavs series. I think it's going to be a good series. I think the teams are kind of evenly matched, except one has Donovan Mitchell and one doesn't. Donovan Mitchell can basically do it all. Like, I mean, scored 70 points this year. But I do think that the Knicks will give them, good competition. I think that the Knicks, like Ray said as well, they're gelling at the right time. I'm slightly concerned because Julius Randle is still coming off that high ankle sprain. So I want to see how he's able to get reacclimated to the game, because we know there's people who get high ankle sprains and they're out for weeks and they aren't really able to kind of get back on track. So I think they said he's finally starting to practice. He's out of a walking boot. So just to see how quick he can really get ready and back in, game shape, to really play in the game. And I think Jalen Brunson has been amazing. I think Emmanuel quickly too is going to be an X factor if he can play. I watched them play against the Celtics earlier this year, and Emmanuel quickly went nuts, like crazy. If he is able to do that at least twice in this series, they have a better chance. But yeah, I still think that the Cavs, Darius Garland getting his first opportunity to play in the playoffs, he's going to play hard. Donovan Mitchell always is going to play hard. And you still got Mobley, you still got Jared Allen. Like, I just think it'll be too much, but I think it's going to be a really good series. Sixers and the Nets, yeah, like you said, had the rosters on these teams that they had at the beginning of the year, this definitely would have been a lot more interesting. But here we are. The Sixers should win the series. I don't think they'll sweep them. I think the Nets will get a game, because I feel like the Sixers every now and then they just have a lapse of, for lack of a better term, judgment in playing the game. They kind of relax. I mean, I don't know what it is. Like Joel Embiid, he's definitely the engine behind them, but every now and then everybody else just doesn't kind of do their job, and it just kind of falls to the wayside. And I think with Mikal Bridges, who has come so far in the past couple of years, that period of time where he was in Phoenix and Devin Booker was out and Chris Paul was out and he was the guy, I think that got him a lot more prepared for the role that he's in now. And like you said, Cam Johnson, he gonna score, he gonna shoot threes, he gonna get buckets. I think that they'll be a little bit harder down low, because I just think Embiid is gonna be too big for anybody that they have, including Nick Claxton. He's tall, but he's very slim. And I just think that Joel is going to, he should, if he continues to play like he's been playing this year, he should be able to take advantage of it and should just be living in the paint. So yeah, I expect them to win. I think it'll be good TV. Like I said, I think Mikhail will have a couple good games. I just don't think they'll have enough. As long as Philadelphia does what they should do. Like if Philadelphia loses at any point of this series, it's because they didn't do something that they were supposed to do. Like they should win this series. If they lose it, they beat themselves. In my opinion.
All right, on to the West. Again, familiar thing here. You got the play-in teams, and not to knock them at all, but the AC gets Joker and company. And this might be the first time in a while the Nuggets are in the playoffs and healthy, relatively healthy, for once. And then the 7 seed, you get the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are going to be missing a very big piece in the middle. They're going to be without Steven Adams and Brandon Clark, which is tough. They still have a Jaren Jackson Jr. You have Aldama, who's huge, but the biggest thing for the Grizzlies, Jaren Jackson Jr. needs to stay on the court. Stop fouling out every 12 seconds, and your team will probably be fine. But, like, literally, you do amazing things, and you're like, 6 fouls, got to sit down, coach. Sorry. Oh, damn. I'm probably needed, but those 4 fouls I had mean I got to sit here quietly and watch. So we'll see how that goes. But, again, there's 3-6 matchups out west, and the 4-5 matchup, just like out east, very entertaining. Like, Tavy, we'll start with you. The 3-6 matchup, we got very familiar folks here. We got Mike Brown. Pretty much, we're going to just call him Coach of the Year unless somebody fumbles this humongously. Sacramento Kings taking on the Warriors, with the Kings having home court in this matchup. As going into the year, I don't think many of us thought it would be this. However, shout out to the Kings. And then in the 4-5 matchup, you got the Suns and the Clippers, with the Clippers obviously probably without Paul George. That said, your thoughts on those 2 matchups? And then, Ray, get to hear from you.
Yeah, Warriors Kings. I can't, like, deep down in my soul, there's no way I can go against the Warriors. It's as dysfunctional as they've been this year, from literally the beginning of the season. We're talking about Rudy Gobert. Let's not forget about Draymond as well. They've been dysfunctional from the beginning of the year. Their road record is horrendous. I think they said they're like 7 and something. Like, I don't know what it is, but I think that if Andrew Wiggins can come back, be in game shape, because they're going to need him to play defense, because Sacramento Kings, they got some scores. I mean, Domantas Sabonis, Malik Monk. I mean, De'Aaron Fox. Like, I remember watching the very first game they played this year, because they played against the Trailblazers in game 1 of the season. And I was like, God damn, when did De'Aaron Fox get a consistent jump shot? Like, I mean, legit. So they have scores, but I think what's going to be their Achilles heel is they can't play defense that well. And you want to talk about scores? I mean, Golden State has that. I mean, they have Steph, they have Clay, they have Jordan Poole. Dante DiVincenzo actually had a pretty decent year. And again, if we get Andrew Wiggins back, like, it's up from here at this point. So, like, I just can't go against them. But I think it's going to be a really good series, because also, like you stated, I mean, Mike Brown was an assistant in Golden State for however many seasons it was. So he should know a good deal about the team that he's getting ready to play against. It's just, are they really going to be able to actually do the defensive assignments that they need to in order to beat them? If I had to put money on it, I'm sorry, I'm going to go State. I just think that they're a veteran team. You know, they know how to play. Unfortunately, when the lights come on, I always think everybody should be ready all season long, but we know how they get bored in the regular season. And I think they're capable enough to win at least one road game, but it's going to be tough, because, like we said, there hasn't been a playoff game in Sacramento in probably my entire life at this point, because that's how long it's been since they've been in the playoffs. So I'm still leaning towards Golden State, but I think it'll be a good series. 4-5 matchup, the Suns and the Clippers. I mean, it should be easy for I won't say easy. It should be the Suns with a healthy Kevin Durant, a healthy Devin Booker, a healthy Chris Paul. DeAndre Ayton does what he's supposed to do. They should be able to. I think that the missing of Paul George is going to hurt them, unless we see like vintage Kawhi. like Kawhi when he was in Toronto for a year. Kawhi, like just take your heart and keep it moving. I think they have enough. I also think Westbrook has something to prove, so maybe he'll play better. I do feel like his jump shot has got a little bit better these last couple of games, so we'll see if he's able to take that into the postseason as well. But I think they're going to have a full team, effort for the Clippers because I mean, Katie is Katie and Devin Booker. Like, I feel like those two together is like a match made in heaven. Like, just two dudes that just want a ball, and they they have high basketball IQ and they can play off of each other. And I mean, just the other day, I think, Chris Paul had 7 threes in a game, and I think they said that's the most he's ever had in a game in his entire career or something. So I mean, the fact that people are being occupied by KD and Devin Booker and leaving Chris Paul open and he's able to knock those shots down is definitely a good vote of confidence for them. But I also say on the other side, Tyronn Lue is a great coach. So is Monty Williams, but Tyronn Lue is a really great coach and he does adjustments very, very well. So I think that, he's going to have to really have his coach hat on, especially with out having Paul George. They're hoping to get him back sometime in this series, or they're hoping they're able to get out of this series and have him in the second round. But if I had to put money on it, I'm going with the Suns because I just think KD is, I think he's going to be on a mission to be, get out of at least the first round. It's been a minute for him really to kind of go deeper into the playoffs ever since he left Golden State. And I think he's going to be, ready. And he's relatively rested. I mean, I know he's been injured, but he was injured earlier in the year and he's been injured a little bit later, but now he seems to be completely healthy. He has kind of fresh legs. And I think it's going to be, a Suns victory, but I definitely think it's going to be a tough series. So I'm definitely more, excited to see that series coming this weekend.
All right, Ray, your thoughts on the 3-6 and 4-5 matchups in the West: Kings, Warriors, and Suns, Clippers.
Yeah, man, Kings Warriors. I gotta go Golden State, man. They've been there too many times. And yeah, and even if they get Wiggins at 75%, that's going to be a huge boost for them. But they're coming to form at the right time, man. All the dysfunction they've had throughout the season, I think they've been here enough to know, like, to be able to kind of ramp up when they need to. And no disrespect to the Kings, man. They had a great year and they're a talented team. Um, but yeah, playoffs is different, and being an underdog as the higher seed is that's got to be frustrating, man. It's adding even more pressure. Like, you're playing the defending champs. You've had this terrific season. You're the 3 seed, and everybody still expects you to lose. So we're going to see their resolve if at any point things start to go south. Because then the pressure just continues to mount on their backs, and we'll just see how they respond. But I mean, talent wise, they they got them all. De'Aaron Fox, man, he's been playing out of his mind. Sabonis has been great all year. So they got a tall task ahead of them because yeah, like I said, Golden State, they seen this many times. So yeah, that experience is definitely going to be a factor for them. But yeah, if gun to my head, I have to pick Golden State to win this series. And the other series, I'm gonna go Phoenix, man. Not the Clippers not having Paul George is huge for them. I don't know how they're gonna make up that production on both sides of basketball. And then Phoenix just has a whole lot of offensive firepower, and you missing your second best defender, especially on the perimeter. That's a lot to deal with, man. So see, I'm gonna go Phoenix in that series. And like Octavia said, KD got fresh legs. So yeah, that's a problem in itself. But then you add having to deal with Devin Booker on top of that, so Yeah, the only Russell Westbrook is gonna pretty much have to be damn near perfect. Like he's gonna have to. He can't break even with Chris Paul. He's got to thoroughly outplay him. For the Clippers to have a chance. And if Kawhi can be Kawhi, that'll make things interesting. But I think Phoenix just got too much going in their favor.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the matchups once everything starts on Saturday. Again, those of you who enjoy the play-in, I hope you guys enjoy both Tuesdays and Wednesdays games and Fridays as well. I will be aware of those games. I'll be watching with little to no interest, but I will be fully attentive come Saturday when the dance begins. Looking forward to it again, and I'm with you guys. Sixers, Celtics, Sixers, Nets should be fun. Cavs, Knicks, look, bro, the Cavs are loaded. They've been consistently on one all year. I don't think people realize how loaded they are. They got a dude. Donovan's been great all year. Mobley in his second year he's probably in the running for DPOY. What he's taken some steps offensively. Darius has been on one all year, like you guys mentioned. On the other side, the guys up with the Kings and Warriors, I think it's just going to come down to execution, and that's going to be the tough part. You know each other, probably running similar things. Having Gary and Andrew back right now, huge. And the other thing for the Kings, I know people don't think about it, Golden State has the dude who led the league in offensive rebounds on their team. And this is something that wasn't important during the championship run last year. Whoever plays the Warriors, y'all better find Big Loon and keep him off the offensive glass. I know it's not important to everyone. The dude is here for a reason. Again, he led the league in offensive rebounds. Him and Wiggins, I think, led the playoffs in offensive rebounds during last year's run. Just something to keep an eye on. Again, Sacramento's been great. Looking forward to it. And like you guys said, PG not being there for the Clippers obviously hurts quite a bit. Never going to count a Ty Lue team out. But even if you have, let's say, Kawhi and KD cancel each other out, you still got a Booker and an Ayton problem. Just being completely honest. And you got to throw in the random, if Terrence Ross remembers his Terrence Ross game. Who knows? Anything's possible. But we'll see. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back with you guys next week. Don't forget you can watch our weekly installment of the Focus TV here Wednesdays at 9 a.m. on our Roku channel, or if you have a Roku television device, all you have to do is type in the Focus TV on the search box, double tap OK, and the channel has been added. For local residents without Roku, you can watch Fridays at 10 p.m. and Saturday at 4:30 p.m. on your DC TV. Just check your local listings, or you can go to dctv.org and just look on the programming. There's 3 live feeds. And find when you can watch the Focus on their website. Again, y'all have a great week. Thanks for tuning in. For Octavia, Raymond, and myself, we'll see y'all very soon.